Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of P.I.P, People in Property, with myself, Adil from Key Property Consultants. Today I have the lovely Elise, also known as the Arty Property, who is a property investor, entrepreneur and developer with over £4.5 million worth in her portfolio. Elise, how are you?
I'm very good and I'm super happy to be here.
Thank you.
It was long coming, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've been trying to arrange it for a while. You've had a little speed bumps in the road, let's say. We've been busy as well, and obviously you can see the podcast studio has changed a bit because we've had some damp issues, so we've had to delay things and put things on hold, but we're here now. That's the main thing. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
How was your journey done? Because I know you travelled quite far.
Yeah, it's just there. Yeah. So I'm always surprised how long it takes for the last bit of the journey, but no, all good.
You get like in congested traffic in the little towns and stuff, isn't it? Unfortunately,
motorway and
yeah, that's it. Motorways are quite relaxing journeys, though, isn't it? You've got time to reflect on your thoughts and things like that as well.
Yeah, and a good podcast, and then we're off.
That's it. Awesome. So before we sort of get into how big your portfolio is and how you sort of managed to obtain that portfolio, how did it all begin for you? Where was the start of the journey and what triggered you to get into property?
Very good question. So my journey is made of different turns and all sorts of, that happened, and then I'm a bit curious, so led by curiosity, led by opportunity. But I started in Glasgow.
Oh, wow.
Not at all local. Yeah. And so 2007, at a time where we could buy property at 110% mortgages. So that was an easy point of entrance for me.
For sure.
And the idea at the time was just to buy something, refurb, and then resell on, because you had basically a free property and the price to do it up.
And a bit of money on top, yeah.
Market. So
they were giving it away really then.
I know.
I wish that was around now. I'd be loving it.
Wow. And I wish I understood property better at the time, because I would be in a much different place, but I didn't.
And how did you find that? Did you sort of rinse and repeat that model for a while, or did you find that it only worked a couple of times for you, or how did it work out?
So have you ever refurbed and lived in a property yourself?
While refurbing, living in that? No, thankfully not. The stress I went through when I was refurbing the place when I wasn't living there, that was more than that.
Yeah, that's it. It's good. You learn a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a half a bathroom, sometimes half a kitchen, always a lot of dust. So it's good. It's testing your relationship. So that's a good part of it. No, I would have done it again, definitely. Lots of hard work, but lots of learning. Yeah. But we got caught in the 2008 bubble. So overnight, your property that is, it's great to buy it, but it's worth nothing or not resellable. So, And
that probably happened because they were giving it away with money on top.
That's how the bubble was formed in the first place. Yeah. So I got caught in that bubble, which meant that it was okay for me, us, and my partner at the time, which was we held on the property. It was a good flat to live in because everything.
If you didn't have a sort of like, I'm not going to say exit strategy, but if you had the means to be able to stay there longer term, then you'd be safe. But if you were sort of like, every penny you had is invested into it, you don't have an income, and then you're sort of in a pickle, negative equity, then that's where you're sort of like handing keys back.
Big time.
And that's when you sort of maybe hit sort of rock bottom as such. But thankfully it wasn't in that boat.
No.
Good.
And also we had to relocate in the south of England.
Right.
So I kept that property, but it was just done up. So it was an easy one to
transition.
Keep. Nothing really happened. It was there.
Yeah.
Somewhere. and we just kept it for a few years.
Awesome.
And then when I moved south, then I had the opportunity, I'm a dentist.
Nice.
So I had the opportunity of taking over a private list, and then I refocused on that.
Okay.
I also became a mum.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah.
How many children do you have?
I have two
boys.
Oh,
brilliant.
And at the time, that was my focus, because it was 5-6 years of my life of an intense building up a practice list and being full-time focused as well.
Awesome.
That was my next.
So you're not just a property entrepreneur, you're a businesswoman as well, and a mom.
Yeah.
So did you study to become a dentist then?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. Oh, lovely. And how did the dental practice run, and how do you still have it?
No. So I went full-time in property 2.5 years ago. So 2016, I rediscovered the world of property, or probably discovered it properly in the first place, looking at pension
Okay.
and retirement option.
Right.
That kind of didn't add up for me.
Yeah. As in, like, you mean like putting money away in a pension pot to then get it when you retire? So you thought, I need a different strategy of having my retirement plan as such.
That's it.
Okay, brilliant.
So it just, I got so many advice. Nothing was really, all the graphs were different. And I was like, so then I looked at property because it's a nice, different alternative option and well known as retirement plan. And I remember exactly where I was, the day, the field, and everything when I discovered by Refurb and Refinance.
Oh, awesome. And did you say that was 2016, did you say?
2016.
Oh, brilliant.
And I was like, wow, that's how they do it.
Yes.
And it was a proper light bulb moment for me.
Yeah, awesome.
And that was me. I was off. So
did you sell the dental practice then, or was that where cash flow was coming from to do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So so that was brilliant. So I was then I dropped 3 days a week for like working at the chair.
Yep.
And then the rest was buying, refurb, refinance, start again.
And was you doing the refurbishing yourself, or did you have a team to do it for you?
No.
Managing. Hands dirty.
No. That was you do it once.
Yeah, that's it. You learn from painting. No. Yeah, I can do painting. And you're there for like 3 days trying to paint, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Painting is okay. It's plastering. You know, when your wall melts overnight.
Oh,
and
lovely.
You're like,
feature wall.
Yes. No, that was a low moment.
Yeah.
But, so that's what I did, and that's how I built the portfolio.
Awesome.
Over many 2-3 years.
So 2016 to 2019, would you say?
Yeah. I'm losing track exactly because
all right.
just, and it was great momentum. You know, it was working. My area was working for that as well, geographically, and the numbers stacked up. So it was just rinse, repeat process.
And what area was you investing in?
So West Sussex. So I'm Chichester. That was mainly Bognor area.
Right.
Yeah. So that was great.
Awesome. And what kind of figures were we looking at in those years? Do you remember rough figures of what you was having to spend and stuff?
Yes and no. It was enough to add anyway the 25%, but it's there's different property, and it was led by opportunity. So awesome. It was just anything I could add 20% and get my deposit out, basically. So
awesome.
Yeah. And then I made a big mistake, like you do. So, because the thing is, I think I'm a property entrepreneur at heart, so you kind of always find the opportunity. Right. And at the time, being in that momentum of everything is possible and wins and cash working for you, I got an opportunity to invest in a manufacturing company.
Right. So you try to diversify your portfolio, your investments as such, to go into something else. Because we really had the dental practice going, generating the cash flow. You then got into you built a portfolio, again, some more cash flow running there, and you thought, I need a third stream, if you like.
It's not I need, and that's probably one of the mistakes, is partially, again, in context with Brexit time. So the property market, the property price was getting to a level where my kind of loop was not functioning as easily.
Stuff.
Yeah. So that was partially one of the reasons. The other one is we were Brexit time where UK was meant to invest in manufacturing, in high-end production and things like this. So the opportunity was there, and I went full speed in like I do. The numbers stacked up. There was lots of pre-sale. There was lots of things that felt very solid, except there was 3 mistakes and 3 lessons, I think. One is it's an investment area that I couldn't step in.
Okay.
Like in property, even if you don't know anything in property, I think you can actually take over and take over your property. You have an asset, and you can take over a development.
Yes.
So that's a major difference. The other one, it was same again, because you think big, and we train in that mindset, aren't we? It was to probably go too big too quickly, meaning instead of starting small factory, small lease and shorter, just like, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it big.
Go big or go home kind of thing, yeah.
And the overheads caught over very quickly. So, And the last lesson I think of that one is, and that's still one I'm learning now, between what people say they can do and actually
what they can deliver.
There's always a gap.
Yeah.
And sometimes you actually only realize when you're in, for whoever, even ourselves, whoever perception of how we're functioning, that's different ways under pressure.
Each individual as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was it. And that's kind of slowed down my property progression.
Okay. Because you pumped a lot of money into the manufacturing, yeah?
And then as a property investor, you can't just let the key under the door. You need your credit rate. It's actually a lot easier to go and sign up a lease than coming out of one. So it took me quite a bit of time to close that chapter.
Exit that deal, basically, yeah.
Okay. Which, on the other hand, made me more creative on the property side because the pot of money available was smaller.
Yes.
Then I had to become more creative. So one of the projects that made a big difference and brought me to the next phase is we bought a bungalow.
Awesome.
And we split it into 2 property.
Okay. So you split the plot in half, essentially, and what you built 2 houses on the plot?
No, just split a bungalow into two
dwellings. How big was the bungalow? How many bedrooms?
At the time, I think it was 4 bedroom.
Yeah.
And then it became 3 bedroom and 2 bedroom with a small extension.
Oh, brilliant.
So it worked. But then made me discover and did another type of development, which was before it was much more replacing a kitchen, replacing a bathroom, a stud wall, but it was easy. There was nothing structural.
Adding small value here and there rather than there's the whole building as such. It's funny, the bungalow, sorry to cut you off, the bungalow story, we've got a client that we sourced a bungalow for. You probably won't know the area because it's in London, but it's in like Blackfen Sidcup location. We sourced a bungalow for him, managed to assist him in obtaining planning, and built 6 flats there. So built the 6 flats. It's all like a BRRR. So he bought the bungalow, got the planning, erected the building, got it all rented out. So we manage the whole building for him at the moment and rent it out for him as well. And now he refinanced, and now he's gonna actually slowly start selling some of the units off because he's found other projects that he wants to get into. So rather than keeping like part of the equity in, he basically wants to do the same thing again. So we'll start selling them for him one by one now. He'll still have some income coming in, for the loan repayment, and keep going from there. We haven't done anything as big as that yet, but maybe in the future we sort of dabble in the smaller stuff. 2 to 3 bed conversion, 1 to 2 bed conversion. The biggest one that we're doing essentially is the commercial conversion from commercial to commercial and resi, which is what I'm enjoying it a lot at the moment, to be honest with you.
Very
it's
good.
One of the biggest projects that we own, rather than we've been involved in larger projects, of course, but when it's your own, it's a little bit different because you're sort of like in the driving seat, aren't you? So that's quite fascinating that what you did there. And where did you go on from the bungalow?
So that was my first taste to back to brick, basically.
Okay.
And knowing that it's like, but it's more interesting, as you described. And also there's more to be done and more numbers, so that kind of led to Flip.
Awesome.
Because of the area as well. So what I did before, maybe if the number stacks up, I would have carried on because that's what you do in general. You go on and on until you hit a wall.
That's it.
But flipping, I did a flip, and the first flip was a massive learning curve again. Because it's a different ball game altogether.
And is that because you hit sort of difficulties with the build side of things, or was it more sort of like the calculation did for how much the funding would cost to do it? What was your sort of like your learning element of that, or your sort of brick wall that you sort of maybe might have hit?
So I think, no, I've been quite lucky.
You've been right, yeah.
It took much longer.
Okay.
But part was the learning curve. Okay. So meaning, when you dismantle a house the first time and you have nothing left, so no ceiling, you just have the wall, no staircase, you have mud on the floor, you're like, whoa, where do I start? And I think that's experience, isn't it? As you move along, you can move faster because you can project what the next step are going to be. Whereas the first time you do this kind of project, even if you have a team who says, okay, have you done this? Have you, who led you? And I had really lovely people around me. So eternally grateful for that first project, which was very team-led, because you don't know what you don't know, and it's not my area of expertise in the first place. So there was a few moments where we're like, I can remember there was a pipe on the floor and we're all looking at it. And
is it a waste pipe? Is it a water pipe?
It's a gas pipe.
Oh, there we go.
The whole thing but there was a few moments where we're like, wow, lucky. So nothing major happened. It just took way longer than it should have.
Right.
But I bought myself knowledge, So very interesting.
It's more like an educational exercise for you as such. But then you've learnt from that for your next future projects.
And quite a really good profit on it.
Good.
So overall it worked out, except that the next phase after that one was to do the same, but faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you don't pay, because did you do it with bridging loan or did you buy it outright?
No, so
cash.
Which was,
right, so at least you don't have the constraints of having the bridging finance to pay for, because let's say you set your sort of target at a 6-month period and it overrun to 12 or 18, that's a lot of your profit gone.
Yeah, and the pressure.
Exactly, and that will stress you out as well. So that's at least you're blessed to be able to do it in cash.
Very.
But once you've learned as well, you might think, you know what, I'll try it with the bridge that we don't wrap up all my cash, maybe do two at a time or something like that.
But it's you need to know that is the reality. You know, a lot of people just start something. We're all optimistic before you start something, but actually the element of time and speed is highly underestimated when you start.
Definitely.
And the big part of the game is in the timing. You know, in any development, doing something within 6 months or something that drags up to 12 months, it doesn't have the same cost at the end.
Absolutely.
But we don't look at it like this.
No, definitely, because you could have financing costs, you could have extra building costs, as in labour. You might come across something that what has caused you the delay could be the material costs, and might need an extra beam or something like that, and then you need a structural engineer to come back out. There is a lot. Someone tells you it's easy. It's not easy, but everything has its own stresses, but everything has its own rewards as well. And it depends if you're passionate about it, and I can tell that you are. Good.
And the cost of opportunity.
Of course.
Because that's the other one. In those 6 months that it takes longer to finish a project, something else you will miss something. Yeah. So even a faster project can actually make you more money because there's another opportunity that will come along. So there's different layer to that one, isn't it?
Have you got any projects on the go at the moment, property-wise?
Not as such. I say that, yes, I've just received planning for a 4-bed house luxury home,
nice.
West Sussex.
Is it on just an empty plot of land?
No, so same again. It's a full... Let's destroy the house and make something nice with it. Okay.
And what's there on the plot existing at the moment?
So it's a 3-bed home, but very dated, 1960s, unloved. The ugly,
falling apart,
yeah, more or less. The ugly house on the street. But same, it took a long time to get planning because a lot is listed around. Right. We finally got there.
Congratulations.
So that's the next one. We're just in costing and everything else. A little bit more planning game going with that one because I put the first round of planning and then put the PD at the back end.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm just waiting for that. And then, that's the next big project.
See, this comes with experience, though. Obviously, you've done lots of property projects, so you know that you have to go for, if you want to get a certain project, you have to go for different stages. So, even with this small one that I'm doing, the commercial conversion, is I spoke to the architect and I wanted to go for a 2-bed and then a studio at the back, and the commercial then was like, look, we'll have to go 2 phases. Let's go phase 1, getting it all cut up. So you got commercial on the ground floor, 2-bed on the top floor, or the first floor, should I say. And then after they've granted that, then go in and say, all right, we're going to downstairs, we're going to do a studio at the rear, and then do that in phases. It's fine though, because you're still doing what they wanted you to do, but you just go in different phases and go from there. So that's it. You got to play them by their rules. It's a shame really that it comes to that, because if it would be so much easier for everyone. The planning departments, I don't know about what your area is like, but the borough, the councils around here, they're so, I feel like, understaffed because they haven't got the funding, and then they've got a backlog, and then something that should take 4 weeks takes 12 weeks. And then it's like, okay, so if you're making, let's say there's 5 of us doing a project, and then we want an end goal that's going to take 2 to 3 phases, rather than doing it in one, they could have saved themselves a lot more time.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a vicious circle.
It's not logical.
It's not. And
they're catching up their own tail. So they're constantly asking for a delay, asking for extra time. It's still on the desk.
We had 3 delays, and then I was like, oh yeah, this is all fine. It was like, we've got a backlog. I'm like, how big's your backlog?
I know.
It's crazy.
Last year, one of my projects, I had 3 different set of eyes. So one person asked me to change the shape of the roof instead of being a flat roof to have
pitch roof.
Yeah, and then so it was declined on that ground. Yeah. In the summertime, it must have been holiday time when my closing date was. I got somebody else who asked me for a flat roof.
So they're contradicting what they're saying within their own... Oh, my Lord.
But, as you say, that has a cost.
Yeah.
I could absorb it, but another company might not have, because you have your team on hold.
Definitely.
So I could have lost a whole round, and I did in some respect, but that's the real cost of that not happening at the right time. Is, in my case, I got almost delayed by 6 months on that project on contradiction that didn't make sense.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy.
And having something that doesn't look as good in the back end.
Yeah. That's mental. And you can't exactly go and try and sue them, because then you'll be in the black book after. And then when you want to do another project, they'll be like,
you can't win.
Yeah, it's like stabbing a knife kind of thing. Like, okay, where'd you go?
No.
You can't.
And it used to be that they were coming out, have a look together, have a conversation. They don't do that.
Yeah.
Not as much anyway.
It's all like sort of virtual really now, isn't it? Did we have, I can't remember if we did have a visit. I think we might have had one visit. And that might have been an external visit, to be honest with you. So it was like, what's the point? But no, that's very fascinating, very impressive, your journey and the properties developments that you're doing. Do you see yourself, did you ever dabble in the rent-to-rent side of things, or not really?
No, on the other side, yes. And that's an interesting one as well. It's like on the other side, yes. So I had quite a large property, and same, I was working around the planning game. So I'm still in the same story, because it's a longer story, which I'm trying to buy some land at the back of the property. Right. Split my long garden into the backland, and then buy next door.
Right. Okay?
So in that meantime, I did a rent-to-rent.
Okay.
And then same, they put HMO regulation in place, so that didn't work out. And then I was like, I can't keep it empty.
Yeah, yeah.
But the owner wants to sell. It's just one of those situations where whoever is in doesn't want to move out, and it's a complex story. So then I ended up doing an safe, thinking temporary. But as you described, you have to do things in the right way, because the idea eventually is to take this property and change it into 4 flats.
Yeah.
But I can't do that, because they're going to ask me parking permission. Parking,
For parking for
then my land becomes car park.
Yeah, and then you can't do the build that you want to do. Yeah, it's just a vicious cycle.
So you have to do it. But then at the same time, when I refurbed that property last year, I've already hidden all the plumbing, all the electricity, everything, so it can be split up at any time.
Perfect.
So a bit more costly up front, but the idea is to keep the property flexible. It's actually working really well as an essay. So
brilliant.
It might stay an essay. It might stay as an essay longer than I expected, but it's interesting.
Brilliant. And sorry, I forgot to ask you, when did you, I think you said you did, but the dental practice, you sold that?
So I never owned it. It was I had the private list.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Did you have you still do that 3 days? Or
no. So I went full time 2.5 years ago.
Okay, brilliant. And you're enjoying it, I'm assuming.
I've enjoyed it. Yeah. I've enjoyed dentistry as well. I always say I would have 3 careers, so it's just a conscious choice. I always thought it would be in business.
Yeah.
And then property, surprisingly, was much more interesting and much more. There's lots of growth in property.
And you're out meeting lots of different. I know you meet different people, but if you're working on their mouth, you can't really talk to them, can you? So...
Oh, I did.
You'll be doing listening.
I did. It's funny.
Do your family get involved in the property element of things as well?
No? So I'm French, and they're all about basically. So no.
Yeah. How about your children? I don't know their ages and stuff.
So 12 and 14.
Okay, so a bit too young for them still. They might come on site with you maybe.
Yeah, they love the bashing part.
Yeah.
So when it's time removing day or things like that, they love the smashing break stuff.
Demolition, lovely, yeah. And you said the boys, right?
Yeah, the boys.
Yeah. Well,
I think now they're seeing the point. For a long time, it was a bit a morning party. It's like, another viewing. Do I have to come? Yeah. And now they're coming out the other end, where it's like, actually...
They can see the picture now. But it's good that you're planting that seed at an early age, because... Like with property, there are so many different elements that you can do. Like, look, even if if they want to start off their own back and they don't have capital, and you want to sort of teach them the way and say, I'm not going to just give it to you, they can get into rent to rent.
Yeah.
They can try different avenues, and you can guide them with that. And it's you get a lot of time. Obviously, with us having like the business here, I've spent a lot of my time in the business, and I'm trying to spend more time working on the business. But it's a little bit different. But when you own the property, you've got income coming in essentially that, look, buy-to-lets, your tenants there, they're paying you the rent, the mortgage is getting paid, you then have a bit of money left over. Obviously, you've got to save some for, let's say, they don't pay the rent, if you don't have your insurances, or there might be, I don't know, a tap that needs replacing, stuff like that. But over time, you can build, it's like an income stream. So if you want to essentially live off that, you can. So you don't have to physically have a 9 to 5. So you get a lot of freedom with time, don't you find?
Yeah, but that's my situation.
Yeah.
And that's what allowed me, and I'm a bit advocate from that, you have choices.
Yeah.
And I love dentistry, I could have stayed much longer in it, but I think the shift from knowing you don't have to, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it changed everything. You know, you choose then to stay as a dentist, and if you, at some point, but you know you have an exit strategy.
Of course.
And that difference, but that's what we were longing for, is that freedom element. And I think initially that's the aim, isn't it? Yeah. After you can choose to stay in your day job.
Of course.
Or you also know if one day something doesn't work or I don't know, you have circumstances change or your health or anything.
Exactly.
You have an exit.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a good venture, like you're saying. Retirement.
You still have to work on it.
Literally.
You still have to work on it.
So are you still looking to scale your property side?
Yes. So lately, and I was at the back end of last year, moved to the Midlands for my own portfolio because, again, numbers are harder to meet in West Sussex, whereas the Midlands is still working.
Okay.
So definitely going to do more projects over there.
Awesome.
In terms of same buy-to-let, adding the 25%.
Yep.
Also doing project for other people, so more on the HMO conversion.
Okay.
And managing the project because that's my skill.
And you do that all around the Midlands, yeah?
Not all over. Same. Rebuild a team, so as long as in their regions where they're happy.
And you're in the process of doing that now, are you saying? Or
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
So looking for the first few projects.
Awesome.
The client are there, so that's cool. And we just need to start. So everything is lined up. Just need to happen now.
Do you have a partner that does it with you, or is it just yourself that's solely?
No, that's me. So yes, married in life, but he still has his day job. And then so that's my.
And obviously your mum at the same time, of course, looking after the kids.
That's all right.
Awesome.
They're older, so they don't need me, as I'm reminded.
They're becoming teenagers, eh? That's it. Awesome.
So, no.
Well, look, it's been a pleasure to have you.
Yes,
It's been very, very eventful. I feel like we've had a great flowing conversation. You're very, you've had a great journey. You know, you've had some peaks, some troughs. But more peaks than troughs, I believe. And you've got a great understanding of how things work. So thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Guys, if you've enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you've got someone specific that you'd like to see on the podcast as well, let us know. We'll put all of Elise's information in the description below with a little bio and her socials so you can give her a follow and follow her journey. Again, thank you for watching and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thank you.